Alright, so here's the original design of the level, right? Yeah. I don't hate it exactly. Actually, no, I kind of do, but it's more like in a nice way. It just needs to glow up, something to clean it up, more focus based. So I scrapped most of it and I started fresh. First step, blank canvas. I had to reshape it, get the hills in order and, pretty much give it a nice shape. I was just trying to build something that gave it a little bit more of a natural look, pretty much. I ended up adding a second plane just to give it more of like a grander scheme of a landscape, and it gives it more distance so the player looks like it's far bigger than it's supposed to be. I pretty much adjusted both of their textures to match, so I pretty much blended in together, and it's a pretty matching and beautiful scene now. I ended up adjusting the textures of the grounds so they match each other, and now it looks pretty good. I'm keeping the PS1 styled also, so it doesn't have to be too detailed, it's just stylized and readable. Next, I started placing trees around the area just to give it more of a foresty feel, pretty much. Like I said in the first video, I wanted to replace the original trees just to give it more of like a actual feel. I like this design because it's very simple, so it doesn't keep me having to deal with too much on trees, pretty much, especially for this kind of style game. Once all the trees were placed up, I gave it a temporary wood texture. There's pretty much something just to hold it right now until I make a better one. I ended up changing it later, but it ended up helping me with the blackout for right now anyways. Then I subdivided my second plane, the one for the background, just so I can have some higher hills and more of a shape for the background. These are pretty much just details, just to give it more of like an oomph for the player, so, it just ups your deck, pretty much. I went back and retextured Nebetta so I can give it a full texture reworkout. It actually looks like it belongs in the game now, and it pops a lot more because I ended up using the 64x64 method without rescaling the image down, so that way it kept the sharpness instead of the blurriness. After that, I placed a ton of trees around the background just to start forming the rest of the forest area, just to get the vibes going. I eventually, like I said, did swap out the actual wood texture that I made. It was pretty clean, it's very simple to do. I tried doing the billboard texture thing that I did in the beginning, but it wasn't wanting to properly work, but eventually I did get it. I also tried to attempt to do a texture based pathway again, but it did not go as well as I was planning it to. So I still have no idea what I'm doing in that situation, as that was my first time texture painting. But if anybody has any tips for texture painting or textures in general, because as you can see further on in the video, I have a surprise for you that I might need help for it in the future. But anyways, at least the billboard trees are finally working here. And the background actually looks like it's a real forest, so I'm kind of coming happy and I'm really pleased with how this is turning out. This is my main character for the game, Rowan. He's a soldier from the space terminal around Earth, and he usually works on humanitarian missions, and he was sent to Mars just to help out on a food famine that they were dealing with. They gifted him with this strange crystal, and after he got this crystal on his way back to the space terminal, things started getting crazy for him, and he was sent on this journey far into distant lands of the universe on his journey to find his way back home. So as far as the textures, I'm pretty much just roughing things out and just keeping it clean and readable just for the people to understand what it is. However, I do plan on going back in the future and working on these textures a lot better, especially now that I understand about pixelation and making sure you're in the right texture sizes, so keep that in mind. I then proceeded to rig Rowan just to give him a little bit of movement using a simple bone structure. It's pretty satisfying to see the rig actually move for the first time, then just stand still. And then finally, for future purposes, whenever we get into Unreal Engine, I gave him a walk cycle. It wasn't anything crazy, just simple enough that people know that he's moving, and I'm pretty happy with how it came out as well. I am still going to be tweaking it in the future though, so keep that in mind. I just think it will work for what it's supposed to be doing right now. So yeah, everything is slowly starting to come together, at least for this first area. The next level is looking way better already, and Rowan's coming to life finally, so I'm happy with that. Still a lot to do though. I still have to make the interior of the hut, and I eventually want to end up making Nebetta's character, so there's a lot more to do, and there's also a lot more to tweak, but I hope you guys are enjoying the journey for what I'm doing so far. And I hope you guys continue to stay around and subscribe and like the videos, and let me know what else you guys think I should work on, or any tips that I can do better. But for now, I think this is pretty good. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. As always, have a good one.